how do I protect my investments, or whether there are any specific strategies that I need to do. And those advanced topics we'll be covering. But before we do that, I want to make sure that this disclaimer is read. This is essentially an educational seminar kind of stuff where we are sharing information, exchanging ideas. This is any information presented here should not be taken as an advice to do any specific planning or investments or any of that. That will happen on a one-on-one depending on one's individual specific circumstances. Now, with that out of the way, this is me. Briefly, a lot of you must know me, but for those, I did my master's from Osmania University, Hyderabad, double major in computers, and as a senior executive in India for quite some time. Came here 20 years back, was in IT field for a long time, 16 years. For the last 4 years, I'm a realtor and financial advisor. Now, we know that things are getting quite drastic, and the government is cautioning that next week is going to be a severe week, like a Pearl Harbor kind of movement. We may be seeing huge spike as it is. We are across 330,000 with more close to about 10,000 deaths. So that said, what is that we can do? Unless it is absolutely needed, don't step out. Take all the precautions, wear your mask, wear your gloves, and maintain the distance. Ensure that you do all the things. Whatever we talk about it, everything will be nullified unless we do some basic precautions and ensure that we defeat this, essentially not giving virus an opportunity to spread from person to person. Do this based some of the age-old Indian tradition medicine kind of, which whether scientifically with the case studies and all, that's a different matter, but they are proven to increase your immune system and also help in fighting basic cold, cough. Warm water with turmeric, ginger, garlic, you gargle, which it helps. Doctors are advising add C vitamin and D vitamin fundamentally because we are not stepping out, and also C vitamin for ensuring the immune system, improving the immune system and all. So now that with that out of the way, this is essentially we are reaching out hopefully to larger audience as well, but essentially our demographics are this: highly qualified, successful people in IT or medical or business fields. We have lots of potential. We are creating wealth, highly successful, but still we have these a lot of concerns. Most of them are valid concerns. How do I ensure safe retirement? How do I ensure my kids get the college education they deserve without worrying about college fees, whether I can afford or not? And how do I ensure that my health and overall well-being is taken care of? And is there any opportunity to build additional wealth? We are always looking to different sources to fortify our wealth. But currently, these are the things that we are worried about: life protection, wealth protection, retirement planning. Okay, now, do I have enough wealth? Today, I'm going to talk a little more deeper into how do I protect my life as well as long-term care, because those are the two important things that we need to pay attention in general, but specifically in light of what's happening this currently. So after that, Venu will be talking a little bit about market updates, what happened last week, and what is the take for going into this coming week and later on. And in the subsequent weeks, as I said, we will specifically come up with certain strategies on how to ensure our wealth is protected, whatever actions we have already taken or not, and how can we benefit when the market bounces back. We'll be addressing those as well. Now, before going into that, I want to show you this one fundamental thing. Every time I make it a point to emphasize the importance of this comprehensive planning. No planning is complete unless we address all areas. And that means we need to have essentially will and trust in place. Estate planning, that is what it is. What is estate planning? I'll give you a couple of minutes on that. In this country, it does not matter whether your brother, sister, relatives, parents, anybody is next door living or next city. Should something go wrong, if you do not have a will and trust in place, then government steps into to protect your kids' future and to protect your wealth, that it is not siphoned by somebody else. So in case something goes wrong, if you do not have will and trust in place, your property goes into what is called a probate by a government appointed judge, and your kids go into foster care. Social services steps in and they take care of it. So in order to ensure that does not happen, in order to ensure that whether you are capable of taking decisions or not, whether you are here or not, you set up a trust. Trust is a legal entity where whatever wealth you have created, whether it is physical or financial, they are added into that, and it is like as a legal, it's a legal entity. And people whom you define or whom you assign as trustees will have the sole power to execute your will and wish that is specified in the directive, the will you write, including the advanced medical directive. So you will specify when your kids need to get the control of your money, at what ages, in what proportions, in what ratios, all that. So please ensure that it also protects lots of us from the legal and some of the other liabilities. So that is scratching the surface part of it. If you have not already set up, please ensure that you put it on your calendar and schedule an appointment with a CPA, an attorney. And if you need some help with what you call referral, contact me at the end of the session. Take the contact information. I will be able to help you with that by referring our teammates in the office. Rest of it, as I said, these are the different areas. We'll be talking in depth about each topic, about how to protect life, asset, and long-term care. What essentially the long-term care means, and what are the strategies that are available. How do I ensure my growth is is enough to take care of the longevity and of my retirement, and how do I ensure there's enough saved for my kids' college planning? Is 529 the better option, or there are better options available? Yesterday I was doing this family consultation so he was kind of repenting, saying, I have started good with the college planning, 529, but unfortunately that 529 also sank in value about 40% with the market collapse. So he actually got panicked with after market collapse, as typically he's moved his entire funds into cash position after it has taken a tremendous beating, and he missed out the 20% rally we have seen last week in the first 3 days or 4 days. So be cautious. There are lots of advanced strategies that are available. Don't do any knee-jerk reactions now that market is at the already beaten down so much. So we talk about those, how to ensure your family contribution towards your college funding is minimal, so that your kid is eligible for maximum possible student aid or scholarship. Tax planning, that is most important. How do we do that? What is the implication? We know that currently we are pumping lots of money into the market. As a result, the government debt is going soaring basically in the last 12 years, from $8 trillion to now almost about $26 trillion. And by the time all this dust settles with this, probably we may be looking at $30 trillion or whatever. Nobody knows that because we are still in the initial phases. And then how do we manage risk and reward? Is it too late to do anything, or are there still strategies available? What if the market goes further down another 20-25%? How do I ensure there is some protection strategies, or how do I ensure from either side of the market movement I can benefit? Is it right for me? Are there? So we will talk about those strategies in depth in future sessions. And this one, basically, I talk about is a X curve, wealth curve. Essentially, simply stated, all of us, we travel in life from left to right from young families with multiple obligations and responsibilities to building wealth, taking care of a lot of obligations. We know that we need to transfer the risks. When we are young, we take fire insurance for our home, car insurance for our cars, and we take our medical insurance for our health and all. So, but as we travel along, some of these obligations, we pay off our home, and kids are out of our books, completing college and all, and we created enough wealth, but there are new challenges: how to pay, manage the taxes, how to manage my long-term care health issues, how do I ensure that these challenges are not eating into my retirement portfolio. Do I have enough portfolio retirement income? What are the strategies? Bottom line, time is the essence. We need to do it when we have time rather than late. Once it is, we are already in a situation, in a pickle, we can't do anything about it. So we'll be talking about what are those strategies again. Now, a lot of you may be already familiar with this. When I do these seminars and when I do one-on-one consultation with families, when I ask them what is the single most, highest expense item, most of them stop at housing, mortgage, but none of them really mention taxes. That is because it's in a stealth mode. We get our income paid after taxes are deducted. We get our when we buy stuff, sales tax automatically is included. And when we build wealth, capital gains, it is financial institutions already deduct that. And when we die, Uncle Sam also wants a cut of our estate, almost as high as 40%. If our wealth is above 11.5 million for individual and 23 million for couple, it is going to set back to 11 million when these tax benefits expire in 2026 for individuals. We'll have to see how it plays out in light of what's going on currently. Economists are forecasting that we may be in a longer term recession. So we'll have to see how that works. This one again is the importance of taxation. Back in 1945, taxes were as high as 94%. And they have been high all along, except for the last 3 decades. When something different happened, taxation is going down while the obligations, the gray mountain is obligations part of it. As I said, the internal debt is close to $26 trillion today. And our payment ratio, that is debt servicing ratio, GDP to debt, it is ballooned from 65% to 104%. So just to highlight the importance of this. Now, okay, this strategy I want to skip. We will cover that. Okay, I will cover that risk part of it in a later sessions, as I said. So I'm skipping the risk management part. This is what we talk about. Fundamentally, we need to take care of the family protection. However, whatever kind of wealth we build, different advanced strategies we put in place are moot point if we do not protect our family against fundamental life-threatening, whether it's life coverage or health coverage or long-term care coverage. Then we need to worry about emergency fund for close to about 1 year, because nowadays it's taking longer to find job and all. Then we need to ensure that we have other safe investments and all. Then we talk about the risky fund investments we call, whether brokerage accounts or 401ks and all. Now, this particular session today is on life and long-term care. Now, long-term care, what is long-term care? Long-term care is essentially our disability to take care of ourselves because of old age or because of health situations or because of any accident and all. Every day we do certain activities which define our daily life, which is when we get up from the bed, we go to bathroom, we attend to the nature calls, we take shower, we dress up, we come downstairs, we eat, and we control our continence, basically controlling And in addition, basically any of these 6 activities, if we are not able to perform any 2, then we are in need of long-term care. Bottom line, it can happen because of an accident. It can happen because of an old age where you are basically in a old age, or it can happen because of any of the dreaded diseases like stroke or cancer or any of them. In addition, cognitive disability, if you are not able to remember your Alzheimer's, or you are in need of long-term care. Now, this is going to be a huge deal for all of us who are planning to settle here. In India, we have a different kind of social network. Even their situation is changing dramatically. People are living more and more in isolated nuclear families, unlike in olden days. But it is still a little better here. If you do need to have that, why? These are the couple of you need to make note. It is estimated about 7 out of 10 people will need long-term care in one's life. And that's a huge thing. Only about 22% of people have taken some kind of action. Whereas when it comes to Indian demographics, not even 2% of people have taken a step towards that. People are actually not aware what is long-term care. People think that it's okay, I have medical insurance from my company, that is what will cover. As long as you are in employment, as long as you have medical coverage, you are covered your hospitalization to that extent. But what happens if you lose your employment? What happens because of an accident or disease, something goes wrong and you lose that medical coverage? And when in old age, again, people think that we have Medicare. Medicare, it came as a horror to me that in one's entire lifetime, only 100 days is covered for for long-term care. That is, Medicare is a medical program, insurance program for senior citizens by federal government. In one's entire life, 100 days. On an average, as per statistics, 4 years to 6 years is the time frame people when they enter into this nursing homes or old age homes for long-term care. That is the time they live. So match that with 100 days. So we need to do our planning is the message. This is the expense, how expensive it is going to. This is the Bay Area cost. Today, it is going to cost about $155,000 in a nursing home, private room for us to. We once achieved certain lifestyle and health status, and social status, we would like to have our own private room, right? That is semi-private room 135, private room 155K today. It is expected to balloon to 280K. Now do the math. If you are expected to anywhere from 4 years to 6 years, what's the cost of long-term care? I often share the story of one particular family. He informed that his wealth is about 5 million, so he is well off. He doesn't need a long-term care. I said, precisely because you are well off, you need. Why? Because our lifestyle, you used to certain lifestyle, you cannot go with whatever care that is available. You want a good care. Second, in a private room. Second, your philosophy or whatever the advice you got from tax advisor of allocating $1 million is great, but not really. Why? You're planning of withdrawing about 200K from your 5 million estate in retirement. Now, that is assuming you don't need long-term care. You are allocating out of 5 million, 1 million to, so 4 million is what you're counting to your retirement fund. Now, what happens in case of a long-term care situation? What happens is you are forced to withdraw that additional 200,000 that you need to pay to nursing home. So what happens to your withdrawals? From 200, they balloon to 400, 450. So what happens to your tax bracket? It balloons. In order to pay the tax, you need to withdraw an additional amount. So instead of withdrawing about 200, 250K, you will be withdrawing something like 6 or 7 or whatever your tax bracket at that point. And multiply it with 4 years or 5 years, you're looking at 2 to 3 million or whatever. So does your estate support that? Do you want that to happen? Don't you want your wealth to be transferred to your kids? And don't you want that if there is a better way to transfer this risk, that you do the planning when you have time now so that your estate doesn't take a hit like that. So those are the things we talk about it. So bottom line, it's a very expensive proposition. All of us, we are in an young age because we have come here just in the last 20 years from in our prime time. So we will be entering that stage in the next 10, 15, 20 years. So this is the time we need to wake up and do some planning. There are different ways of doing that coverage. You can buy a standalone coverage, which basically addressing just that, but it can be pretty expensive. Depending on your age, depending on your specific situation, that may be the route. Or there may be, if you're young, you have a lot of time to plan for it. There are better strategies like with a long-term care rider on an index universal life or variable universal life. And there are even annuities that are available giving an additional long-term care rider. What is each one of them? Whether it fits your need, it depends on your specific situation. You are young, you have long time, maybe an IUL is a strategy. You are old and you don't have any, probably you may have to buy just a pure long-term care, allocating certain money. You are sitting pretty with some significant cash in your checking account. You are better off investing that for an annuity, which will give you guaranteed income, plus you can add on a long-term care rider. So each solution is tailor-made for individuals. Now, what about the life part of it? Let me give you a brief history part. That is about long-term care. But before you go to long-term care, we need to talk about your basic life insurance coverage. A lot of us, almost all of us working for good companies have good coverages, good benefits. But the tragedy is time and again, I'm seeing that families are not paying attention to the benefits they have in their offered by the employers. So they're leaving either default or maybe taking it too little. So pay attention, next enrollment period, take a look at it, what you have, and do the right thing of taking maximum advantage of that. I'll come to that point again, what you need to do in addition to that. So coming back to this life coverage, in your employment, you are offered a term protection by the insurance company, which is having a tie-up. Now, term insurance is essentially a protection given for a certain fees. When insurance started evolving, insurance companies tailored this. Okay, give me X amount of dollars as a fees for every year. We provide you certain coverage, which we are all aware of it. What are the problems with that? Advantage of that it provides maximum coverage for a minimum fees. The disadvantages are it is term, it's fixed in nature. So one of the persons, they took 10 years sometime back, very young. After 10 years, he's out of coverage, and when he's trying to find coverage now, because health changed, it becomes super expensive for him to find the coverage now. So that is a challenge with term. You have to really tailor your term, how long, preferably past your 60s and 70s is what the advice would be. Next, it has a fixed cost. That cost is a cost, you don't get back anything. So market started asking, okay, why can't we have a better solution? Industry responded by designing and coming up with the whole life policies. Whole life policies is, as the name indicates, the insurance is for whole life. But as a result, they're a little more expensive. But the advantage is the insurance companies are returning that money with certain minimum amount of returns, maybe about 3% to 4%, depending on what company, what. The idea is you are protecting yourself for a long, long time. At the same time, you are getting some basic returns. That was good, right? But then the problem with that is they are very rigid without having any flexibility. You miss payments and all, your coverage is terminated. So industry came with the universal life policies where they provided a flexibility as long as you have some cash value in that, as they really are not worried at what date and time you are paying that next premium. So they have come up with that. Next evolution is they came up with the universal. That is fine, but markets were exploding. They were getting highest returns in the stock market, but as a result, public was marketplace was demanding that why 2-3%? This is not good enough. So industry responded by coming up with these so-called variable policies, wherein they are tied to market ups and downs. So you can get 30% return, or you can even lose whatever market is losing. So that is the evolution part of it. Then to meet the demands of protection, I'm okay to get those 20-30%, but I'm not really comfortable with the kind of crash market losses in a bear market. So insurance industry evolved again and came up with what is called an index universal life, wherein they said, okay, you know what, we are not going to give you 100% of the market, but we will give you a certain percent, up to 13, 14, 15%. And we protect you from down market. If market loses 10%, you don't lose any. If market loses 20%, you don't lose anything. So you are protected 100%. That's what is a current evolution of index universal life. We call it a Swiss Army knife. We call it a smartphone of insurance, whatever you want to call it. What it does is it has living benefits. It has life coverage. It has long-term care coverage, and it builds wealth without market risk and without taxation. Remember, all these policies, life policies, because it is life coverage, any benefits coming out of it is tax exempt. Some of the wealth created based on what kind of choice you make may be taxable, but that is where you need to pay attention when your product is being tailored. But most of it, if you attend to those minor details, can be 100% tax exempt. Now, the proposition for IOL, this is what it is. Term life, it is important because it gives a large coverage for a small fees. But as I mentioned, it has its disadvantages, right? So value of IUL is, it's a lifetime proposition. It is offering long-term care coverage. It builds wealth with tax exempt, and the upside potential is there, while the downside downside market protection is there. Now, this is what it offers. From the insurance perspective, it is covering life, it's covering terminal illness, it's covering long-term care, and after doing all that, at the end of life, there is still some residual benefit that is available. And from the cash value perspective, it is a tax advantage part, and it has a downside protection, as I already mentioned, upside up to 14-15%. And most importantly, is flexible. Like 401ks, you can contribute front load by changing up to 20-30% of your paycheck to see that your 19,500 you are contributing, or in between you foresee that in the next few months you need more money coming into your bank account, so you reduce your contribution. Just like that, here also you can you have a huge flexibility. You want to contribute more, less, or even stop in between, you have the flexibility as long as you ensure there is certain cash value in it. That's what is the model. Now, the living benefit, this is what the different things. What is a living benefit? Living benefit in olden days, in the initial stages of insurance, even if I have an insurance coverage, I need to pass away for the insurance company to give the benefit to my family. But thanks to modern medicine, the technology evolution and all, people are living longer, even with the dreaded diseases like cancer, stroke, and others. As a result, insurance companies are not liable to pay until person is gone, but families are faced with huge medical expenses. So to beat that, the insurance company said, okay, we will give living benefits. Essentially, when a person is diagnosed with any of these dreaded diseases, cancer, renal failure, stroke, heart attack, any of these, the doctor's certification based on how much functionality loss is there and how long a person has in life left, insurance companies will do the net present value of the coverage and pay that benefit to the families so that they are not in a dire financial situation, praying that a person be gone rather than we're taking care of the person. That is the essential uh, uh, gist of the coverage. Now, this is how index universal life basically covers. It is going up and down your investments, 401ks, brokerage account. But say on February 19th, when markets were at a high 29,551, assuming you had two different accounts, one is an IUL account, another one is your brokerage or 401k account, each one having 100k. Today, your IUL will still be 100k, whereas your 401k or brokerage account is either 65,000 or 70,000, depending on your distributions, how you invested. That is the bottom line. When the market is down, crashing, you're protected. When the market is up, you got a part of that growth up to 14%. So when the market is down again, this is what it is. So this can be a huge deal if we allocate properly, when we invest along with our 401ks and other overall planning. This is what I say often. Your planning is a comprehensive pie chart wherein there are multiple segments. Each segment has a role in it. This particular segment, okay, you have a 401k segment where you are contributing maximum, that is available 19,500 if you are below 50, and catch up another 6,000. Similarly, you have a social security, you have a real estate portfolio, you have your brokerage account, then you have this tax exempt category where you should allocate at least 20 to 25% of your overall wealth you are planning to build. Why? No taxation, 100% market risk free, and it is providing long-term care as well as life coverage. Then once you are 50, 55, you have money sitting in checking account, allocate that, assign it for 10, 15 years, then you can hope to withdraw lifetime pension from them. Okay. Now, when we ask people, what is that you most fear? 61 people said outliving, and only 39% said they fear death. That is the reality. We are scared to death that we will run out of the money. Okay, this often is the situation where if you have time on your side over a long period, whether ups and downs, they don't matter much, because a long-term trend is about 6% growth markets give you. That's perfectly good. But what if you are at the verge of retirement, and when you retire in a bear market, you are likely to run out of your wealth, your 401k balances pretty quickly rather than in 10, 13 years. Why? The money that is withdrawn for expenses does not have a chance to come back and grow back. Whereas if you're in a bull market like 2010 onwards, the money has multiplied and it lasts for much, much longer time, as long as about 30, 35 years, based on recommended withdrawals of 3 to 4% of your 401k balances. Okay, these are the examples. Some of the examples is where money early withdrawn, early gain will still have lots of money left out even at the end of 20 years, whereas early losses, your accounts are nullified. Now, the question is, why do I need to? A lot of people, young people, they're not realizing the importance of this. As I said, they're not, first of all, paying attention to company benefits. But more importantly, even if lots of people are paying attention, they're not taking coverage outside. I always tell my own example. I had 4 years back, $3.8 million coverage, close to 4. But when I started on my own, when I quit the job, right off the bat, I lost about 1.8 million coverage. And because I had the background of insurance and also had some vision too, I protected myself. But that again, in the next 3 years or so, I will be needing more that 20-year coverage will be lapsing. Now, even though there is no sugar, BP, cholesterol and all, because of one element, liver enzyme being at 51 instead of 45 SGPT, insurance companies are giving standard rate, not penalizing, but standard, not preferred. As a result, for the same 30-year coverage, I am asked to pay about 10 times, 11 times, 9,800 instead of just 800, which I'm paying for $1 million coverage. So what I'm saying is always remember, when you're young, your coverage is pennies on the dollar. It's like buying these blue chip companies, Microsoft, Amazons, and Googles before pre-IPO. When we are mature, we are like mature companies. The insurance companies demand much higher premium on us because we are bad risk, higher age, old age, as well as health profile keeps changing. So lock your coverage for a long time, both in terms of longer term coverage and also a whole life in terms of an IUL or otherwise. So lock it when you have an opportunity. That is the message. And de-link from employment. Why? If you lose the job because of the macroeconomic conditions, or if you decide something on your own and quit like me, then you have a problem on your hands if you have not already protected outside. Because when you go outside in the marketplace, at that point in time, you're already old, and if your health profile changed, it's all the more difficult. Basically, any insurance company would like to have a good risk vis-a-vis the bad risk. Bad risk, they obviously wanted to get compensated with the higher premiums. Now, most of the question all of us ask is, how much do I need? So it is not a what do you call as pure science person, but there's a scientific element. That is, this is advice basically, if you are below 40, 45, you need to go for at least 15 times of your annual compensation. Why? Because you have growth ahead of you, because you have higher responsibilities of younger kids in you. But if you are above 50, probably you are already grown in a company or organization, you are earning much more. So your coverage obviously is higher when you multiply with the 10. And your kids are already out of college. So depending on where you are, this is what it is. Assuming you are 55, but you have very young kids, small kids, probably you may have to go 15 times. So that depends on each case. Again, how many dependents you have? 1 kid, 2 kids, 3 kids, that makes a difference. Then what about your debt profile, your obligations? What about your home and rental properties? You don't want them to be taken away just because you're not there. So you need to add those obligations in to your 10 times or 15 times of your annual packet. And what kind of nest egg you are building? Do you have enough nest egg, enough wealth otherwise built, or you don't have anything? A lot of people are leveraging this IUL and insurance product to build wealth because they failed to, or they were not able to, or they could not build enough wealth outside, taking separate IULs for wife and husband. They're building wealth in that so that it can work 2 ways. One, if needed, they can use it for their retirement benefits. If they don't touch it, it can be significant wealth transfer when that when they pass away, that value in that is inherited by kids without any taxation, no estate tax. So it depends on how it is. Now, value of term life, as I said, lowest cost for the fixed coverage. As I said, example, here is a person, 30-year-old, for $1 million. For 30 years, insurance company is guaranteeing a coverage for $1 million for annual expense of $633. Best, assuming his health is good. So why is that? Based on the actuarial sciences tables they have, it is guaranteed that people will not pass away before 60, other than the accidents or otherwise. So it is about large scale of numbers, and small people may be passing away in accident or unfortunate diseases, but we don't know who is going to be affected by that. That's why we all want coverage. But insurance companies, because they do that. But the same thing changes dramatically when you go with male, same 50 years old, and well, health profile change. So standard, not substandard. Look at that premium. Instead of 6,630, it is 8,640. Bottom line, the message is simple. When you are young, lock in for a longer term and for a whole life, as because you are in a better point. Your premium, as I said, depends on your age, your health, and your family history. If I have my siblings or my parents passed away when they are in their prime time of the 30s, 40s, 50s because of cancer or heart attack or anything, insurance companies do take that into consideration because it is about genetics. Probably you may carry the gene which increases your risk. As a result, you may be given a different category rather than the best possible rating. And value proposition of IUL, as I said already, it's a lifetime protection. You have long-term care coverage. It builds with the tax exemption, and it has a potential for 14 to 15%. Now, I talked about term coverage, how much you need to take. And here is an example which I often give, wherein I pride myself as highly, knowledgeable, or I do lots of reading. I'm passionate about finances. I've been investing for quite some time. But everybody, it's a continuous learning. However expert you are, maybe, there will always be a situation when someone else points out, hey, you've been going on this is the proven path, correct? But here is the touch, look at this, there is a shortcut, better way available. Then you look at it, it's just like this. When 2 years back, when I came across this is a very simple strategy, but it blew my mind away because it is so simple in its nature. But it's difficult to implement unless we have discipline and unless somebody shows us in advance when we have time. What is that? This is the case of a family wherein they have saved about $1 million in their 401k retirement account. They paid off their mortgages, so no obligation of that. Kids are out of their books, and they have some social security. In addition to that, they need about 50,000. So here they are withdrawing 70,000 for from the 401k. It is in the market space. Why 70,000? Because remember, when you start withdrawing from your retirement accounts, it is taxable. Because government has given tax exemption when you're saving, they're going to take cut when you start withdrawing. That is like you're paying taxes on the seed, but you pay taxes on the harvest. Anyway, so if you see this, there are 5 years when the markets performed negative. If you take the history of United States stock market, the ratio is roughly about 3-to-1, meaning 3 years, markets are in a bull market and it is in a bear market over a period of time. They essentially, on the longer term, bull market prevails, giving you about 6 to 6.5%. But as you know, when the market collapses, if you withdraw money, then that money has no chance of coming back big time when the market recovers. In this case, he has retired already, and he is withdrawing continuously because he has no option for those living expenses meeting. As a result, at the end of 20 years, if you see the bottom right corner, it's about 444.791, about 445K is left out. Not bad. If they don't have any obligations, it's fine. But think for a second, if he had some other opportunity, some other account, some other source, wherein he can withdraw money from there for his living expenses of 50,000 and does not touch this when the markets are down. That's a key. Only when the markets are down, he's not touching. Otherwise, he's tapping into this for his living expenses. Then what happens? Any guesses? Only 5 years he is not withdrawing, but rest of the time he is. When I asked this question, most of the very high balance answer was roughly about $2 million. But look what happens. If you do not touch just those 5 years, the balance is about 3.587 million, not 445K. That is absolutely mind blowing. Even when I was considering it's about two plus million is what you plug in these numbers. This is S&P performance, only those 5 years. That is what. So the message is simple. In our retirement, when we need money, if your markets are down, don't touch that. But how do I live? Build a different portfolio where you can tap in. That is where this IUL comes into picture, where you are withdrawing from that those 50,000 which you need. Why 50,000, not 70? Because this is tax exempt. You do not need to pay taxes. So that is where when you build that separate vehicle, when you have time, then this is a simple philosophy. It's not exotic options trading. It's not doing multiple different scenarios of strategies of investment. We do need all that knowledge, but this is a simple enough for anybody to implement if one starts early enough. These are some of the examples I have wherein we can take individually how it works and all. So bottom line here is this. I have this is what better. If an individual starts at the age of 30 and contributes just $500, then he has contributed about $210,000 over a period of 35 years. Now his cash value is 700K. Most importantly, is life and long-term care. You are having, depending on which company, up to 1.2 or 1.3, basically different companies. So in addition to having this cash value, you are also having a long-term care coverage as well as a life coverage. That's a huge deal. And most of the times in our market, we are highly analytical, and people are, I've been talking about this for the last few years. And the simple message I come across, the objection is, yeah, but market is giving me 20-30%, right? 2018 market was up 19% or so till October. The last 2 months were disastrous, and people actually thought market is in the entered bear market. So in 2018 ended the year with a -6%, but the markets came back roaring. 2019 gave 29% market returns. That is unbelievable. But February 19 to today, in between market loss as high as 38%. After the little bit of recovery, we are somewhere around 25 to 30, depending on which portfolio, how you allocate. So it was difficult when the markets were booming, but the same people are now after me saying, okay, how do we do it? When do we do it? As I said, if you take 100,000 in IUL, 100,000 in 401k from February 19th to today, the IUL did not lose any value. So again, it is about distributing your investments and overall planning. Whereas if you have your kids, when I came 20 years back, and I come across this when I had my kids, I would have started this because we both were spending so much money. We want to give kids everything that's possible. All of us, you know that. We are doing painting, drawing, karate, kumons, you name any number of activities. I'm not saying we should not do that, but what if somebody showed this and say, hey, you know what? Look at this. If you contribute $500 until your kid is 23-year-old and advise him to continue the same on an autopilot when they get a job, just 500. Actually, they may be able to contribute 1,000 or 1,500 because we are going to give them best education possible, and they're going to be successful people, right? But just sticking with that $500 per month over a period of that 65 years, long time, absolutely long time. Life is all about long term, and it is about, as Einstein said, one of the greatest things mankind invented is not theory of relativity but compound interest, long-term compound interest. You invested $390, your kid, the cash value at his retirement is 6.67, 69, and the life coverage is about 14 million. Moreover, this strategy is important right now after the January 1st of 2020. Why? With the passage of Secure Act, previously, the inherited IRAs had a lifetime for the kids to withdraw money. Assuming you give them an IRA wealth of 5 million, 10 million, they had their lifetime to stretch the withdrawal period. Assuming they are already good, rich people, earning good incomes, they don't want to do a quick withdrawal and pay high taxes. But starting from January 1st, that withdrawal period is reduced to 10 years. Meaning what? They need to exhaust the wealth and inherited IRS within 10 years. That means they are going to pay huge taxes. To beat that, in addition to building your own IULs, if you have surplus money, plan ahead and fund this in the kid's name so that the transition of wealth happens in a stealth mode. Government cannot touch it, and this is not visible to the colleges when you file FAFSA application and all. So this is a very, very powerful vehicle if somebody wakes up early in life and starts planning. As I said, we are in what you call highly analytical group. This is a lot of information you're saying, but I'll give you just two tidbits. I came here in 2099, and now 20 years, if I started an IUL and invested $1,000 per month, just like your 401k, instead of 19,000, whatever, 12,000, and I have two accounts. One is stock market brokerage account, which all of our people are saying, okay, I basically can build big wealth in market. And the other one is planning for life and retirement with IUL. This column, 12,000 adult amount invested, 12,000 per annum, you have invested basically 264,000, the last line, the black bold 264. With an IUL, I'm not taking 15%, I'm just taking 13%, depending on which carrier and how the costing is affected a little bit. The range is anywhere from 530, 522, 616, 17. So your value, account value will be somewhere between that. Say, let's go with an average of 600,000. In addition, you have a life and long-term care coverage of 1.1 million. So had I done this, my IUL account would be looking somewhere around 600,000 plus coverage of 1.1. Whereas with the crash market, what happened today, it is at 420K. That is a difference of roughly about 180, 200K difference. Not only that, I do not have life coverage, I do not have long-term care coverage. Okay, let's not take the, this into account, the crash. Let's go behind. So if you go 1 year, it's at 547, it's about 560, it's roughly matching up somewhere. If you go into 2018 again, because 2018 ended bad, then it's different. Bottom line, you do not know when you are going to retire. So your accounts can be highly fluctuate, and you need to pay taxes on them. As just pure brokerage account, you need to pay your capital gains, whether it's 15% or 20%, or even in 401k, you need to pay that when you start withdrawing. The message is simple. You need to do a proper planning with proper allocations. Now, let me skip this. There are different strategies. I mentioned about annuities also. We'll be covering in depth at a later date. Now, at this point, I will open it for questions. Basically, I talked about life coverage and long-term care coverage and how an IUL can benefit for a proper planning. So before I give the floor to Venu to share market updates, any questions from anybody for a couple of minutes, then we go. Unmute yourself if you want to ask a question. All right, looks like no questions. Venu?
Yeah.
The floor is yours.
Okay, let me share my screen.
And I would like to give a brief profile of Venu. Venu has extensive experience in stock markets. He monitors them closely. He is an advanced trader, as well as he has a lot of insight into these advanced strategies. So this particular session, he's going to talk about what happened in the last week and what his take is for the next week and foreseeable future. Again, the disclaimer, this is purely an information sharing session, and this should not in whatsoever be considered as an advice to go ahead and invest in all those advanced strategies and in the market.
Thanks, Azad. Thank you very much. So you guys can see my screen. Hello?
Yeah, I can. So we can see when you go ahead.
Okay. All right. So here it is. Thank you again. Quickly, as Azad pointed out, this is only educational purpose. Please don't construe this as a recommendation for investment or any indexes or any stocks I'm going to mention during my brief update on the markets. Having said that, I've been like, this is my hobby. I've been working in IT and management consulting industry for last 20 plus years. I have extensively involved in a lot of market strategies for the last 20 plus years, doing a lot of technical analysis. So this is particularly, more into in-depth analysis of how specific indexes behave, and what kind of strategies are there, options versus long and short-term strategies as well. So I basically live in Dublin. With that, let me quickly dive into what's going on into the market right now. And then from there, I can dive into how things are moving quickly. So this is what happened. I just wanted to bring you to this up to the speed. So this is an economics magazine that that publishes every 15 days. So if you see the cover page, on the front cover page on the top right side, it says like hey, big tech, $2 trillion bull market, all that stuff. And then within 2 weeks, what happened? We closed completely, entire global closed. So markets are completely took a nosedive. So this is within all these things happened within 16 days. Amazing, right? And this is what reflecting in this slide. If you see for last 20 plus years, this is in 2020, we reached to the fastest bear market in the S&P. Again, I'm tracking more on the S&P side. Pretty much all the indexes followed the same thing. So if you see here, this is within the 16 days, we reached to the bear market compared to the last other markets, right? Last other bear markets. And this is a typical, technical analysis, how I construed. Let me help you dissecting what I mean by this different colors and all the lines here. So if you see here, this is again, S&P index for last 20 plus years, and this is how we performed. And if you see this red line, this is the longest bull market that we had since 2009. And so this is, sorry, excuse me. So this is what we have, the secular bull market rising trend line. And if you see here, this is the last internet bubble. And then we have the financial collapse in 2008-ish. On all these vertical lines, if you are seeing, so I'm comparing with this just before February 19, when we had this collapse of the COVID-19 bear market. All these vertical lines, this is 3,400 is when we peaked out, right? If you compare that to the last 2009, we were up by 80.4%. And then if you see the 2014, we have 2016, we had a slightest dip. That was a 46% down. So the latest compared to that, if you see here, the latest downturn, we are right now trading somewhere here, 2,400 plus, right? So that is the kind of dip we took. And just just to make sure that, we understand and try to correlate where we came from, where we started, and how we are performing right now. And if you see here, the downward, this is the fear gaze, like, how we are, how the markets are uncertain right now. This is the 150% is never heard of. Like, if you see during the bull run, we are less than, like, maybe 8%, that's how the VIX normally trades. Now it is 150%. So recently, government has released this CARES Act, which is a 2 trillion. So this is how it is trying to, pump the money into the market, into the economies, basically. And this is the pictorial view of how it is helping different sectors, different industries, in terms of pumping more money. And again, remember, this 2 trillion is as of today's value, but by the time we are said and done, this is going to be much higher. So just to give you the perspective of where we are, this 2 trillion, in 2008, we had done this similar kind of a stimulus package in 2008, right? In 2020, if you see the comparison in terms of the GDP, from 5.5% in 2008 to 9.3%, that's the kind of relief package we pumped into the into the markets. So just all these are all, like, I'm trying to give you the amount of the damage that has been done in the markets. And I've been seeing a lot of commentaries from so-called pundits saying that, yeah, this is COVID-19. Yes, we have, we stopped we shut down and we are sheltered in place. Once this passes, right, we can catch up to the earlier old golden days of pre-February 2020. I am not sure about that. So just putting together the unemployment rate, right? Again, these are all indicators that are telling what happened. What is going to happen, what's the future is there, we don't know at this point of time. And all these indicators are telling, that the unemployment rate is very high now. So far, we are touching, like, last week, they announced, like, it's almost touched like 6 million, and we are almost in the 10 million, and it's going to go up. And this is the S&P versus unemployment gauge there. So just wanted to take a pause here and give you, most of the technical analysts, or what they do is they try to take these indicators and try to predict, or maybe, give a kind of range what's going to happen in future. So this is what exactly I attempted here. So the next slide, if you see here, this is S&P daily. So when I say I'm a technical analyst, right? I normally don't believe in the short-term, the ranges or short-term charts. So what I do is typically I analyze the daily versus weekly and then the monthly. And when I say daily, this is all from last 10 to 12 years kind of range, right? If you see here, I can pinpoint these lines, like, I analyze the Fibonacci analysis retracement. So if you see here, this is the 38.2%. So this is typically, this is where we are as of Friday, right? And it is still struggling to reach this lower band. And that means, like, we have a long way. The daily is not really still comfortable. So let's go to the weekly and see. And again, in the top, what I'm saying is, this is the RSI, which is another indicator that tells you, like, are we in oversold or overbought? So this is called oversold. And this is, if you reach at the 70, which is the top, that is means, like, overbought. So if you see here, pre-February, we are all in overbought condition. And this is where we are oversold within 16 days, right? And right now we are at somewhere in the middle. So is it safe for us to jump and start nibbling? That's what everybody is saying, right? And another indicator is 50-day average, right? And this is below the 200 average. That means we are not still right there. Still, there is a lot of potential to go down. So this is what I'm seeing in the daily. So let's go to the weekly, right? Weekly, again, I'm talking about from 2014, 2015, April onwards, I'm looking at this curve, and here where we are right now. So this blue line is the blue circle is telling where we are. And if you see here, this is the low of 2008 and 2017. We had this big blue, and this is what the benchmark we are talking about. And we touched here, and we are struggling to come back here, but it is not still comfortable here. So what here we can see, again, this is a low 30s. So it is still oversold, but it is struggling to come out. If I go back to the much more into monthlies, this is where we are right now. But if you see last 2 weeks, we struggled to come here, and we are trying to come back here. And still we have much more room to come down further. So I'm not comfortable even in the monthlies also. So just to add to this, if you see here, these are the all top analysts, right? They are already giving you what their estimates for the earnings in the next 2 quarters. So if you see these numbers, man, this is all like really scary. In Q2 and Q3, what they are saying is maybe Q3 we may see some positives, and we may come back to the Q4, fourth quarter, and we come back maybe some stabilization. That is what they are predicting right now. And they are saying, most of the analysts, if you see here, technically we're already in a recession, right? So most of the folks are saying, yes, we are already in the recession. So if I comprehend most of all these things, here is what I'm coming up with the key takeaways. S&P daily, weekly, and monthly long charts, we already saw these things, right? What is the daily is telling me? It is almost we lost a lot of ground, and it is trying to gain some kind of, some bear market rallies for the last 2 weeks. So that's what we are seeing. We stopped doing those market limit downs, like, 1,000 points down, 2,000 points up, again, another 1,000 points down. Those were all done now. What we are going right now is we are struggling to come back and maintain some kind of, resistance. And the resistance I showed you in the earlier slides, if you are reaching at 38.2 Fibonacci retracement level, that is where I would say it is comfortable, but we are not at there. If you see at the weeklies, there is still a lot more healing that needs to be done, and we don't have that much confidence right now. And monthlies, it is telling a different story. So what it is telling me is, are we at the bottom? I don't think so. We are still at the bottom. There is a long way still we need to go. As far as the markets and all the pundits are talking about, so whether once this passes, are we back into the business as usual kind of strategy? I know Azad talked about long term and how we need to keep our nest eggs properly. So the kind of analysis right now we are having is, or the circumstances we are dealing is totally different from previous bear markets, right? Now we have dealing with the kind of economies of sudden stuff. So far in February, everything is running, everything is good. Every company is minting, their supply chains, and they are running efficiently all their shop floors. But all of a sudden, we are all the shops have been closed, right? So in order for us to gain back to the where we are, is it like flip a switch and restart? I don't think so. These are all dependent on a lot of cycles, right? And it is going to take a longer time than what we anticipated. Especially if you look into the small businesses, and also our economies are mainly consumer driven, right? Unless you have consumer has a much comfort level, they are not going to go out and shop. Without that, none of the companies are going to declare good results. So all I would say is, the current scenarios requires a lot of stability and a lot of time taking, and we will see a lot of volatility and weakness. So this is what my takeaway, and I'm opening a shop for any questions or any additional thoughts.
Right. Excellent, Renu.
Thank you.
If you can unshare.
Yeah, let me do that.
Okay, anybody has any questions?
Yeah, and share.
Okay. So basically, this is what we are saying. The next, based on what I'm reading out, the next 1 week is going to be crucial, actually, a couple of weeks. So the market may have knee-jerk reactions, but if you have not already moved money into safe position, my advice are we should not be doing any knee-jerk reactions now, because the damage is significantly it's already done. If you are sitting on the sidelines with cash, significant to cash positions and all, you can wait for some more time. And if you find one of these stocks that you always wanted to at rock bottom prices, probably start nibbling down. When I say that, it's a long term, the value investing or dollar cost averaging, don't worry about getting right, diving into deep into that and acquires too much money and committing too much of your cash position, but nibbling down probably. Because why is that? If there is a good recovery quickly, which I doubt it, but in such case, you don't feel that you missed the boat and all. Bottom line, from the point of your portfolios, if you're not already moved, don't do anything now. I don't want people to feel bad about, just like the person yesterday saying, okay, he did just when the markets were absolutely low and he missed the 20% market recovered in last week. So we'll be discussing more of those strategies, whether in the next seminar, whether there are any advanced strategies that we can implement, again, from the point of purely sharing rather than as specific advice. All this is just exchange of ideas. I'll frame it as that. So with that, we have this is our information. Please schedule a 2-hour free consultation session, which is absolutely complimentary with no whatsoever strings attached. I basically spend a lot of time in analyzing your current financial situation and whether you are prepared for it, and your tomorrow's task in the retirement is to ensure that there is no gap in the anticipated expenses vis-a-vis the income, or your issues are much bigger in terms of how do I avoid paying too much tax on the wealth I'm building, or how do I ensure that I transfer a lot of significant wealth to my kids without tax consequences or any of that. Bottom line, a lot of people are realizing when they forced to sit and take stock, oh, these are the gaping holes that we have. A lot of that which is on autopilot mode, and especially the expenses that are in stealth mode, they all come out. So that is a contact information. With that, any questions? Okay. If we do not have any questions, thanks a lot for taking time. Look forward for next week's session. This time we will be sending it out a little bit in advance, and please share the links with anybody whom you think can benefit from this kind of information. Thanks a lot, Venu and others.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Azad.
Hey, Anil bhai, how are you?
Doing good. How are you?
Now that everybody dropped off, you have light coming from your behind, and you have
because of yeah, I'm sitting behind a window. Oh, you cannot see me, right?
it's like a Hindi movie, old movies.
Yeah. 1 second. Let me move here.
Yeah, much better.
I'm having my lunch and tea.
Came che. I said came che.
Came che, maja macho che.
Okay. Did you do any open houses defying the Bay East orders?
कुछ भी नहीं है यार. कल दिखाया किसी को घर, but I don't know if they'll move forward or not.
Okay. And what is the information on Usha Kale? She scheduled 2 hours. We waited on the bridge and she did not join and did not come back. I said, hi, Usha, no response. So this is what I'm thinking. I'll send any text message saying what is the status. Either way, please let us know, or you want to wait. What's your
Did she respond?
No, I'm asking you.
Yeah, I can send the message, or you want to send the message. Either way is fine.
Yeah, why don't you do that? I'm wondering why, because she scheduled that meeting on the evening, the day before, and she confirmed, Azad, I have scheduled the meeting and tomorrow we'll meet. And then she kept me waiting.
Yeah.
And then, so it is a little interesting.
Yeah.
It's genuinely that she is distracted with too many things, or whether she has something else, I don't know.
I think main thing is the not able to make up the mind, I guess, right? So she thought, okay, if she gets in a call, then she'll be on the spot, right?
Okay.
I guess. So she might be trying to buy some more time, like everyone else, right? Even Anil, whenever the time comes to the commitment, then he says, okay, let me talk to my wife, right? Towards the end of the call. Right?
Actually, Anil Ravapati has sent me an email saying they are ready to move forward
with the term.
With a 1 million term. And let me talk to him. And if he says he's ready to do now, I'll ping you. Then you can.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So Anil did take a decision in that respect. So as far as Praveen is also said that this is a good information, and yeah, let's see.
I think initially they get scared of a bigger commitment, right? So maybe for building the relationship, we just do term insurance for them. Just it's up to $100, right? It's not 100 whatever your health check, 100 to 200 maximum or something. Get that locked down, and then they're starting talking to us. They get more comfortable with the products and all that. Then move forward slowly. One person does it, then multiple people will do it. I'm sure, right? It's just in that group, right? In that group, if one person does it.
चाय अकेला अकेला पी रहे हो यार.
सुबह का चाय यार चाहिए अपने को. अभी सुबह का चाय है ये. ब्रेकफास्ट लंच हो रहा है अभी. I got up late, had few things to catch up on.
Okay. Good. What else is going on?
कुछ नहीं है यार. कल मार्केट का देखते हैं. 17th का मेरा ये BA का थोड़ा स्टॉक होगा, जो सारे ऑप्शंस वगैरह ना. Because I bought one more. I told you, right? 95 वाला भी.
You didn't tell me that. Very good.
That was Thursday or Friday. Well, I want to now. It's moving so fast down too, right?
So you are locking at a much more competitive price.
I don't know. Competitive is all relative. That was 160, and then I thought it will never reach 120, and I made my profit, and suddenly it drops to 120 right now. So who knows?
This is what human psyche, right?
3 days.
Happy if I get it 150 because it is at 190. Now that it is available at 120, man, what am I doing? It may be available.
No, but I was thinking in that aspect,
I want to this is what, whenever we make a trade, that's what I was telling myself and Shyam. We should make a small video saying that, man, I'm excited that I'm making. And I'm going to get BA stock at 125 when it is already quoting at 170 because we missed that. This is what, otherwise I'm going to make 20% return on this just within a month. And then after one dinner, man, what did I do?
Yeah.
So juxtaposed between the expectation and what it is, the same stock, tomorrow it rallies, then we'll be beating. Why didn't I buy more, sell more puts, or why didn't I buy it outright?
That is true. So same thing I can do on even index also, right? Index is also, you can buy an option on index that if it goes to this, because it's a symbol, right?
Yeah, you can do that.
Oh, okay. That's pretty good.
I opened a whole new spectrum for you. It's up to you.
No, the thing is, the option is, I'm thinking, why would I ever buy a stock ever? If I know I want to buy at 140, might as well wait for the 20 days.
There you go. Now you are coming to it. Why do I buy it, right? Man, I always get the discount. That's what I've told you, strategist. I've been talking
Yeah,
to you.
either you take some money. Only thing is you do not get the full benefit, right? If it runs.
Tell me, this is what I was talking for the last couple of years, right? Different strategy whenever in our get-togethers. Now, that is, you nailed it. In case the market rallies up, you made $2,000, which I talked about previously, right?
Yes.
I made 2,000, 3,000, but one that is rallying stock, I could have made, had I bought the stock, I could have made 50,000 or 100,000.
Correct.
So you remember your strategy and do this. And this works well in essentially stable markets. If it is in a strong, steeper bear market, then you are losing because you can get, or if the market runs too high, instead of making too much money, you're making too little. So
Correct.
this strategy works well, and the what do you call market is within the band, narrow band.
No, but if the market is stable, then the money you get would be very little. Right now, BA is giving you $20. They'll give you $2.
20% you will get 5-10%. Yes,
Yeah, exactly.
that is true. So anyway, what else? You said you are ready to sign up. What's the third process?
Sign up for?
The third member.
अबे यार वही तो ये मुझे उषा का थोड़ा पॉजिटिव लग रहा था so I was thinking that once she let me text her right now, let me see if she is available, and we can even pitch it to Ravi or Anil also, right? Anybody, right?
Who is Anil?
Anil Ravi Party.
Yeah, I told him on the day when the call, right?
Oh, then this guy also, the other Anil who did the term insurance, his wife also might be interested, right? He said.
We said that. We said
Yeah.
to that. We talked to them both. Or if you did, we present this opportunity to him?
Yeah, no, we just told him his wife he wants to do it and he was interested. Let me check with him. Right?
Okay, that way, what Venu is doing is he's scheduling the two different sessions. So one is a business opportunity for those people, wherein I'm presenting the business opportunity. Last night he got one person, and the second is the business presentation.
Correct,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah. But I'm saying we don't want to feel like pushing them, but it's more like, okay, if you want to do it, then this is something can be done, right?
Yeah. So you underwrote one policy, right?
Yes, one policy. Now I'm thinking at least Anil does another one today, so there will be two policies, right?
Okay. Did
both of them, if they do it, then we will have three policies.
Did you schedule your what do you call lab tests that day?
I am supposed to do it, or that guy would get a call? Sorry, I forgot.
I thought exam one, I showed you how to do that.
1 second. No, you gave me exam one. Yes, that is correct. Okay, I thought that if he needs my help, then I will do it. Otherwise, he will get the call anyway. No?
Okay.
Maybe there was some confusion. I forgot about it. Yeah, 1 second. So would they not call him anyway if so I have to initiate it?
It's insurance company can schedule on their own, but if you do it, you are avoiding the delay.
Oh, okay. Makes sense. Okay.
Anyway, because now there's a shutdown, lockdown.
Are they even doing it?
Yeah, that's what it is. So it is on a lockdown basis. So you go ahead and schedule it. Then we can talk to them probably.
Yeah, but I'll check with him if his wife is interested to have a session today, right?
Yeah, ask them. And he attended our sessions.
No, Anil, the guy who took the term insurance, I'm saying his wife, Monica, they have not attended any session, but she's on H4EAD, right? So remember before.
Did she attend? Did they attend any of the presentations?
No, they have not.
Not even business opportunity, nothing.
No.
Okay, then talk to him. Would he be? When we mentioned, he said he is interested also in that call.
His wife maybe. We just asked him. He said, "Yeah, my wife could consider it because she's at home, right?"
Talk to them, and if they're interested, we can do that.
Okay.
Okay, you can text Usha
Anil,
and see.
Usha. Yeah, Usha, and I'll also check with Anil. So check with Anil Ravipati. You check.
Anil, I'll talk to him,
Yeah.
and if he's ready, we'll go ahead and submit the application.
Okay, so can you check the time with him, because then I can, if this other guy is also available today, then I will, schedule as per Anil Ravipati's appointment.
Okay.
Right?
Hold on, let me talk to him.
Yeah, if he's available right now or later, whatever, right?
హలో
హలో
అనిల్ ఆజాద్ అండి. అదే మీరు మీ ఇద్దరిది చేసేద్దాం ఉన్నారు. యు ఆర్ అవైలబుల్ నౌ? ఓకే, బేసికల్లీ మీరు ఫామ్ ఫిల్అప్ చేసి పంపించారా నాకు?
నేను పంపించేస్తాను మీకు.
Okay, so in the attachment I didn't, because I've been super busy. I didn't open that attachment.
Okay.
Basically in the attachment, if you have the information, we can go ahead and
Yes.
complete most of the information, and then if there is anything, then I can get back to you and then we can complete.
Sure.
So
ఆల్రెడీ పంపించేశాను.
okay,
So once you are ready, then please give us a call and we can discuss.
okay, so I'll go ahead. I'll call Anil here, and we'll go ahead and complete the application,
Sure.
and then we can go
Okay.
from there. Okay, na?
Sure. And
Sir.
we are available right now, so anytime you want, please give us a call.
Okay, so
Okay.
let me
Thank you.
open that. Let me open the message, and if I need, I'll give you a call back. Otherwise, we'll come prepare 1 million each for 30 years each, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right then.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
bye. Okay.
So do you want to do now or kaise?
Yeah, he says he's ready, right?
Yes.
So
Can you check if he has given everything? मैं दूसरे बंदे को भी पूछता हूँ और इसको उषा को भी कर रहा हूँ टेक्स्ट मैसेज.
what are you texting her?
I'll just say Usha, haven't heard from you या जो भी करके. One second. Usha Kale. She has a lot of numbers. I'm trying to find what is the right one. One second. Should I just have a call with her? That's what I'm thinking. No, I was just thinking. She has a lot of numbers. I'm trying to see which is the right number for texting.
You want me to give you?
Is it 1737? Is that what you have been texting her? Ending with? Or 5244? Yeah, iPhone में पंगा है थोड़ा. It remembers your last one even if the number changes or something.
The number I have is 1737.
Yeah, that's what I text her on. Okay, ठीक है. Okay, so this is one thing. I'm also texting the other guy, Anil. I'll just ask him, did you get, hi Anil, did you get any call for, did you receive any call for lab test, right? For term insurance. Also, would you and Monica like to discuss business opportunity, right? For the same products, right? ठीक है, तो उसका करना अभी मेरे को, I need to restart my machine. I mean, some internet issue. Zoom is working, but I'm not able to get on the internet. I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
I'll dial back into your Zoom.
Not this one. I'll text you the Zoom connection.
Huh?
This one meeting will end it. I'll send you a different one.
Okay. I'll join your regular one, right?
Other one also.
I cannot hear you, but Azad, just WhatsApp me, okay?
I'll do that.
Okay, thank you.